Hey, I want to know, do you think that you have a money set point? What is a money set point? And if you are stuck at a money set point that you don't want to have, how can you change your money set point? That's what we're talking about today on season 2 of Max Potential Money, episode number 22, How to Change Your Money Set Point. If it's your first time here, welcome. I'm psyched that you are here. My name is Dr. Amanda Barrientez. I am the host of Max Potential Money. This is your place to come each and every week to get tips and tricks to help you master your money, optimize your money making efforts, do what it takes to make more money in your business. So, this is directed toward coaches and online entrepreneurs. And I like to bring you mindset, money, marketing, and manifestation tips to help you take the mystery out of why you're stuck at a money set point. One of the things that happened when I started this season of Max Potential Money, as you all know, it used to be called Max Potential Habits. And I did polls of my people, and they all said, I want to make more money in my business. And so I thought, okay, let's hyper focus on money making efforts. And so everything in my business has been geared and directed toward helping you make more money. Now, you all know that I was on food stamps and really struggled in my money mindset. One of the very first books, I think it was actually the first money book I read. It was either the first or the second. This might be tied with a DeMartini book, but it was The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Now, if you're on YouTube, you can see me holding this up. It's T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Think Rich to Get Rich. And right now in my mastermind group, we are reading this as like a book club so we can chat about it, have insights, perspectives, shares. And it is reminding me as I'm reading it how powerfully informative it is and how much it changed my money mindset because I use these principles in my business all the time. I've used them to go from food stamps to building a six-figure business. I've used them to go from thinking poor and really thinking in a stuck way to thinking rich and thinking beyond millionaire status. I go like, ooh, what's beyond like my first million? What happens when I'm at 10 million, 50 million, 100 million? And that would not have been something that I would have ever even thought before. That would have been so out of my realm of possibility that it was just like an alien thought because I had a really low money set point. So I'm going to put the link to this book in the show notes, and I want every single one of you to read this. I don't care where you're at in your money world right now. If you are making $5 an hour or $1 million an hour, you can change your money set point if you choose to. You might be someone that's super empowered and you're on your way and you don't feel stuck at all. Then, this book might not be for you. And yet, I always think if you get one nugget of wisdom out of a book, it could be worth millions of dollars to you, or it just helps you feel better. So I've read this book multiple times. I highly recommend it. It's going to be in the show notes. He calls it your money thermostat. So T. Harv Eker calls it your money thermostat. I think of this as a set point. And this is interesting because in another episode, I don't know my list here, I talked about your stress set point. It's episode number 9, season 2, episode 9. I talk about your stress set point. And this is a similar concept to your money set point where you actually have a level where you get to in your money making, and then something happens to sabotage it. And I want you to think about times in your life where you've increased in your money, increased your income somehow, increased your salary, gotten a bonus, had something big happen in your business. Maybe you coupled and your financial reality changed, and then something happened to bring back down the money set point to a place where you feel comfortable. Now, this is really interesting. The term set point comes from, it's really a psychology definition or term that talks about genetics and how we have set points within our genetic coding that gives us only a certain amount of leverage to change our body types and our physiology. Okay. So the thing about this that's cool about money set points is that you can absolutely change this because they're embedded in your subconscious system. They're embedded in the way that you think about money and what you were told about money when you were little, what you watched, what you observed, what you experienced, what you saw on TV. That's how these money set points get created. And you know that they're not static because they'll change throughout your life. So for example, for me, remember I at the beginning I said, thinking about making $1 million a year used to make me think like, yeah, there's no way in hell I could do that. I had no idea. I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the mindset, I didn't know a path to get there. Now I'm like, oh, no problem at all. I can't wait to make $10 million. And that's my next money set point where I go like, yeah, that's absolutely 100% possible. I see it happening. I see evidence of it happening. And so my money set point has changed. I've done work to do this, and I want to teach you how to do that because it's absolutely possible. 100%, because I've changed my subconscious belief system. Until you become conscious, your unconscious will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's a quote by Carl Jung. Powerful, powerful work when we're looking into our unconscious to understand what's keeping us stuck, what's keeping that set point there where we sabotage back to a certain level. I hear this from people I work with all the time. They'll go, oh, I made a whole bunch of money in my business. Then I partnered and the money went away. I started to get an influx of new clients. And then all of a sudden my car broke down and I had all medical bills and all these unexpected expenses. It's because the money set point was keeping you subconsciously held back because there's somewhere in you, you have a belief system that doesn't want you to get past where you are now. And don't forget, go take my Money Blocks profile because this will start to help you pick apart the unconscious blocks. So moneyblocksprofile.com. If you haven't taken it yet, it's an incredible tool and it'll help you start to open the door to understanding your subconscious belief system, your money-based competing commitments. So what I want to give you today is 3 steps that will help you change your money set point. So number 1, I want you first to discover your current money set point. Okay. So questions you can ask yourself are things like, what's the most consistent monthly income I've earned? What's the most consistent monthly income I've earned? Write that number down, look at the averages and see if it has fluctuated much over the years. I would imagine it's probably gone up, but maybe not as rapidly as you want it to over your life course. Mine used to be like $2,000 a month. For years, I made around $2,000 a month, which wasn't a lot. And now I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's wild that my income has increased so much because I have changed my inner world to match what I want in the outer world. And now I expect much more than that. And I know that I deserve much more than that. And I'm able to generate much more than that because I've changed my money set point. Okay, another question you can ask yourself, in my history, what's been my annual income? So you could look at your monthly income, you could look at your annual income, and then you want to look at those averages and just start to get honest with yourself and be curious about your history so that you don't have to have your unconscious directing your life. You can ask yourself, when I move beyond this money set point, what happens? Okay. So when you start to shift into a new level of income, do you sabotage? Do you get sick? Have you gotten divorced? Have you gotten had cars break down? Emergencies happen, kids emergencies. I could go on and on down the list. But do you notice that when you finally start to up level to a new level in your income and you start to feel like, yes, I'm starting to make it, something happens to sabotage back to that comfort zone set point money level. I want you to get conscious of these. So that's number 1, discover your current money set point. Come up with a number. It doesn't have to be exactly accurate, but I want you to just have a gauge of what it is. Then number 2, I want you to ask yourself, what must I believe to be true to keep my money set point at this level? What must I believe to be true to keep my set point at this money level? I want you to dig into your history a little bit here. Think about, were there things that my parents told me? Were there events that I witnessed that made me think that this is the safe point, that this is the one that's keeping me in my comfort zone because it's what's keeping me safe at this money set point? I want you to dig into that. You might not discover the answer, you might, but I want you to at least start to try to detect, to start to dig, to start to uncover those unconscious blocks that are keeping you at the current money set point. When you come up with it, I want you to come up with at least a couple of ideas about what you must believe to be true. and go take the Money Blocks profile if you are stuck, because it'll help you dig and uncover some of those beliefs. Then I want you to write down 10 money reframes to start to shift your money set point. So money reframes means that what you're going to do is you're going to start to look for counter evidence that your current money set point isn't true. So you can either look at your history and go, oh, when did I make twice that much, and keep it for a certain period of time? Or how can I look around me and see other people who are making twice that much and they're thriving and they feel good and they don't have to sabotage back down to a lower level? How can I reframe toward, okay, I'm going to increase it by 10% this month, and every month for the next year, or every quarter for the next year, I'm going to increase my income by 10%, just to give myself a little bit of cushion from that subconscious pullback with your inner critic. I call it your inner critic leash that pulls you back into safety, comfort zone. You can stretch it by 10% at a time. So start to look for evidence where you could do that and go, okay, in this aspect of my business, I have been able to increase the income and the profitability by 10%. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to remember to anchor the belief that I am a money master, that I am in control of my money, that I master my money instead of my money mastering me. And I'm going to take steps in the direction to start to shift my money set point over time. Now, I want you to remember, this is a process. I hear all the time people saying, why isn't this happening fast enough? I thought that, it would happen so much faster. And I go, compared to what? Because for me, I went from food stamps to building a 6-figure business in my first full-time year of business in 3 years. So I did that in 3 years. That's a pretty rapid change, right? Like 3 years is rapid. It took me all of my life before that to get to those belief systems. I don't know why we think overnight we're going to have an instantaneous shift. We can have an instantaneous shift in our thoughts, but our behaviors and the seeds we plant with those new thoughts are going to take a little bit of time to germinate. Remember, I say there's a time to plant, a time to sow, and a time to reap. So you're sowing new seeds in your mind. You're sowing new money set point beliefs. It's going to take a little time to germinate. That doesn't mean you give up in 1 minute, 1 day, 1 month. You don't go, oh, well, I believed this for 1 month and it didn't work, so I'm going to go back to my crappy money set point. No, you keep planting the seeds. You keep taking action. It's a process. This is your life's mission. You are the only person who gets to decide that you want a different outcome in your life. You're the only person. No one else is going to magically drop into your life and help you with that, because your outer world matches your inner world because of the law of attraction. You're not going to attract someone into your life who's going to magically save you from all of your woes and your victim-minded poverty consciousness. You're the only one that can do that. And, in my NFA style way, I'm going to encourage you to be radically responsible here. If you are feeling stuck in the money realm and you haven't read any money books, why do you expect things to change? If you are stuck in the money world and you haven't taken my Money Blocks profile, why do you expect to change? After you take my Money Blocks profile, I even offer you a free session to hang out with me and talk about your money blocks. If you haven't signed up for that, why do you expect to change? What are you afraid of? Face your shit. Like, really face yourself. Love yourself enough to be better, to do better, to have better. It can only start with you. And, one of my main quests in life is to inspire you to do whatever it takes to get empowered. It's funny. I used to say this at the end of every episode, and I just did it in reverse: to get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered version of yourself so you can lead the life you want. That's a life of freedom. That's a life of flow. That's a life of abundance. That's a life of financial freedom, right? And the key there is you've got to get inspired to do whatever it takes, and you've got to do whatever it takes. You've got to take action. So if you're just listening to this every week and you're not doing anything about it, yeah, you'll start to shift your mind a little bit. And over time you could possibly change, but think what would happen if you listen and you take action on the things I'm telling you. What if you took notes while you were listening to this and you wrote down the action steps I tell you every week and you started to implement them? The reason that I changed so dramatically so quickly is because I put the knowledge into action, right? A lot of people say knowledge is power. I say knowledge and action is power. You take no action, the universe doesn't open as many doors for you because you're not signaling that you're willing to do what it takes. Your end of the bargain is to do what it takes. And I want that for you. I know what it feels like to be scared, to feel like crap, to be constantly worried about money, to go to sleep at night and fret and have nightmares, or not sleep at night and fret. I don't like that feeling. And I don't think anybody does. And we are not born to live that way. So the thing that must change is your mind. You got to change your mind. You got to take action in a direction. And it all starts with you. And I love that you're here. If you're getting something out of this, please, please take a screenshot, blast it out to social media, share it with people that you know, do the steps that I am encouraging you to do, and then let me know how they go. Email me, DM me. All my social media handles are at NFA Money. Take the Money Blocks profile, hang out with me on a Zoom and ask me some questions. I am here for you. I live to do this work. I love helping people build their wealth because it's such a liberating force to get unstuck in your money-making efforts. It's such a liberating force to make money doing what you love. And I want that for all of the people that are attracted my way. So, all right, I'll get off my, I feel like I'm preaching at you today. I'll get off the preaching money stand, and I will say, do what it takes to change your money mindset. And until next week, NFA money making high fives. Thanks so much for listening to or watching this episode of Max Potential Money. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and turn on notifications if you're watching on YouTube. Share it with your friends so we can build our NFA family. And if you're getting value from what you are learning here, you are definitely going to want to go to moneyblocksprofile.com. Again, that's moneyblocksprofile.com to learn your top money block that's limiting your income potential.